Hey there guys, and welcome to the Impact Zone podcast, and we are back to talk more TNA wrestling shenanigans. We're talking about Rebellion and an update to the Rebellion card. Josh Alexander versus Hammerstone 3, or technically 4, is official. So yeah, this is another big beefy boys match to add to this upcoming card, and they've been telling some great story building up to this match. I kind of didn't really think like it would happen this way, but it's been good to have something like else, not the most obvious. Sometimes thing is like sometimes worth doing. Like, I don't know, but it's cool. We're just waiting to see more of this, so we'll continue to build. Like, again, it's going back to where it sort of all began between these two at Hard to Kill, sort of, at least in this context of the story. So we'll have to keep watching and seeing where this is going. And I do feel like it really needs a stipulation to add to this, and because again, they're just gonna go out there and have a third match that has no stipulation, unless something happens in the match, like Hammerstone gets effectively a cheap win, and Santino Marella comes out and says, "Hey, no cheap wins for you. I'm going to restart this match, but no DQ," or whatever. I don't know. That could be all right. But again, I think you should just put a stipulation on it anyway, just to friggin' nail in the coffin that this is, a stipulation match, and whatnot. So yeah. As far as predicting the winner, I feel like it has to be Josh winning this. I don't know. Josh has to be going on to be facing Moose at some point for the title. Surely. Again. So that's the clear, obvious route. Now, as I said, you can go not the clear, obvious route sometimes, but at the end of the day, you can do other stuff with Hammerstone. You can do so much with Hammerstone. You can do a lot of stuff with Hammerstone with anyone on the roster. But after a certain point, I know I said this match doesn't have a stipulation, and that actually makes me feel this match this feud could continue. But I don't think it should. There's the idiot, there was a bunch of feuds that continued and continued and continued. And sometimes that's good. And sometimes, going back to that feud, that story is good. But you need to also know, okay, when's the time to move away from that, and how do we move away from that? You need to always have something else, not just a win and a loss, but something significant for these guys to kind of latch onto within their match. Not just, it's a match, have a match. You can have good matches, as I sort of say, but there needs to be more to latch onto in this. So, and I don't really know, what you should do with Hammerstone. There's a bunch of people that he could kind of work with. It'd be kind of funny to see him almost do stuff in the X division, though I don't think that that's the best place to put him. But still, it would be an interesting position for him to go into. I don't think it suits him at all, really. He definitely belongs in the upper main card, I think. Unless you're going to push that title into being in that upper main card more regularly and whatnot, which is fine as well, but still, they don't realistically do that much. You can put it in the opening main, that's fine as well, but still, you need to sort of elevate it as high as what you can as well. if you're going to do something like that, because he's a top tier performer, and you need to give him something, big to work with in terms of an angle. I don't know. Like, it feels tough to say that, whole thing again, because again, doesn't feel like the stipulations or the positioning of it feels like it's like quite over yet. And I feel like I'm kind of over it as a fan, fairly or pretty much. But I don't know, dude. It's super tough not to want to see like a final conclusion to this. So you're just like hoping for something to blow off soon, because again, you don't want to see the same thing over and over again for too long, but you do want to see it reach its, logical conclusion at some point, and then both parties to move on and find, other things to work with. And certainly, Hammerstone has that trophy hunter-esque sort of thing going on. Have him collect a trophy from somebody else before he finishes his feud with Alexander, and then have Hammerstone feud with the other person, or just have him lose and then have him collect a trophy for someone else. Like, I don't know who the best person there to do that with is, because not many people actually that have that many, like, quote unquote trophy sort of things. Like, maybe people have glasses or something. I don't really know what you could kind of take from some people. Maybe their shirt. I don't know. like, yeah, it's not a huge props kind of place with a whole lot of that going on, So not that there's nothing, but it's not super obvious either easily. So it feels like he'd be almost lost in the mix for a little while if you do decide to move on from this, without giving him something else or someone else to really work with. But then how do you do that without, just, before he loses or after he loses or whatever? He'd still be pissed at Josh in a way for beating him. So it's like, well, you've got to wrap that up for him and be like, okay, well, I'm going to move on from you and I'm going to do other things. Like, the heel needs to feel like, all right, I'll leave that person alone for now, because I've got other fish to fry or whatever, So, but yeah, like, I really feel like, we know that Josh is the guy, and he's the face of the company and whatnot. And even if he loses, like, against Moose, that's not bad, because again, you sometimes need that, sort of thing to sort of, keep propelling the title scene forward, not just it's the same thing as it was last year. Now it's this, and now, we're going to see where this, leads. And then what are you going to do with Alexander after that? Like, again, he's got to still be in the picture, but he's got to have other things to do and other people to work with. I think like another feud with Kazarian could be interesting, could be good. Yeah, I don't know where you could slot that in. I don't think you'd want to slot it in before he gets a shot at the title. I think you need to slot it in either just as he's getting a shot at the title or whatever. But then again, you start saying, well, who's the number one contender? So you could put them both in the number one contendership. So, but then again, you don't want Alexander to already be 2 up on Kaz or whatever, in a sense, unless it's a multi-man match type thing. So I don't know. It makes it tough sometimes. You could, like, that's how you could kind of like finish this up, perhaps. Like, they're still kind of ongoing with their feud, but Hammerstone doesn't really care, and he's just kind of like, well, like in a match he blindsides somebody else or whatever, or takes somebody else out, or does some other things to start something somewhere, and then moves and transitions. Again, you could do that very easily with Alexander, and that there's an obvious sort of direction there, and then like you move it into like Kaz, again, Same as what he did with EY cost Josh Alexander the match, and then you have a feud with them, going after that, and whatnot. So you keep the wheels on moving and keep things going for him in that regard, and then you've got to figure out who you're going to have Hammerstone work with, and if you're going to do that multi-man. I think that actually sounds kind of good, even if it's like triple threat. I don't know, that seems a little bit too little. So maybe a 4-way. So yeah, I don't know. And again, like, I think PCO and Khan having Monsters Ball on free TV seems a little weird. They should just really have it on the pay-per-view. Honestly, I don't know. You got to pay it off at the pay-per-views. Like, honestly, I don't know. But maybe like Khan wins in Monsters Ball, but then PCO, comes back from that, and then you have like the final blow-off match. So I don't know. But still, yeah. But then again, as I sort of say, you got to have good things on TV for people to kind of tune into, even if people know all the results and don't tune in because they know the results mostly. Even if there's really good matches on TV that they miss out on actually, seeing the results, they just watch the highlights or whatever on YouTube or whatever on on a show like this. So, it is what it is. But that's why, like, these live shows are great, like, and they draw a lot and do good business. So yeah, but we'll have to wait and see more stuff from these guys when and where it sort of comes together. Maybe I even like, because what I think Under Siege is like fairly soon after this, so you could have that at Under Siege. That wouldn't be too bad. Like, that seems fine. And then sort of start building to Slammiversary and whatnot, and Bound for Glory and things like that. So, but yeah. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. You can write your thoughts down there in the comments below and tell me if you did or if you didn't or whatever, and whatnot. And hope you will join me again in another one.